Well, hey guys, I wanted to bring you all a little bit of bonus content based on the message this morning. So this morning, we talked about how God has called us to get out of our comfort zones and to go to the people in our circle of influences and just give them opportunities to follow Jesus. We talked about the illustration of the empty seat, and the idea was that every empty seat represents an empty heart. That's on God's heart, and my part and your part is to give their heart a chance to connect to God's heart. And the really practical application we have for that over the next month or so is inviting them to Easter. And I want to just acknowledge that's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of tension, a lot of fear even sometimes when it comes to inviting somebody to church. And two of those fears specifically are this. The first is fear of rejection. And that's very real. We can be very afraid that the relationships that we have will change when we introduce a spiritual element to it. We can have this fear that it's going to be very awkward when we do it, when we invite somebody to church or enter into a spiritual conversation. We can fear that, man, people think I'm weird and they really, really won't like me. And I get that. I understand. What I want to encourage us to do is think about our relationships from the standpoint of eternity, specifically with this idea. Why did God put me in this person's circle to start with? Because what I believe is that God puts us in every circle we have for the purpose of reaching the other people in it. And that doesn't necessarily lessen the fear of rejection, but it can help us think about our relationships from a more eternal standpoint and help us move beyond the temporary fear of rejection in that. The second fear that we can tend to have is ultimately boiled down to fear of failure. It could be expressed like, well, what if they ask questions that I don't know the answer to? Or what if I try and it just doesn't work? And here's the verse that I always go to when I think about that. This is Matthew 16:18. Jesus said, I will build my church, and the gates of Hades, or the gates of hell, will not overcome it. How does Jesus build his church? Well, he adds people to it. He draws people into it. He builds his family. Like we talked about this morning, it's not up to us. God is the one who makes it work. So I want to encourage you guys with that. As we go out and as we invite people, we can bank on the fact that Jesus said he would build his church. Our job is not to make people fall in love with Jesus. It's just to arrange the date. So let's go to that boldly and confidently over the next month. By the way, I had a great time this morning. It was fun. I love y'all guys, and I'll see y'all next Sunday.